Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Saratoga Racecourse here on Saturday. It is the 22nd of July 2023. Gonna look at the stakes races on the program from the spot, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections for race courses around the world. Around the world. Was going to look at the Haskell today, but I'm still suffering from this ear infection. It's really driving me insane. So I couldn't look at the Haskell today. I looked at the stakes races today for Saratoga. Next week regularly scheduled program will return. But my God, this ear infection, I've been getting them for all my life, but this one is just doesn't want to go away, and it's annoying. But let's look at the stakes action. Races 6 and 9 from Saratoga. Some good races. This 6th race is the best of the two. It is the Crest Stakes. It's a grade 3 event going for a $200,000 purse. Race for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upwards. 6 horses are entered. The 6 horses in MTO, so only 5 will go. 1,100 meters or 5.5 furlongs in the Mellon Turf course. I love the 5-horse Wakanda as a top selection. I'm going to go 5-2-1-3 in the superfecta. 5-2-1-3 super. Top selection 5-horse Wakanga. This 5-year-old mare by Power. Belmont trains. Junior Alvarado gets to mount. The horse's most recent outing came the Just game at Belmont. 1 mile on the 9th of June. And the horse finished 3rd by 4 3/4 lengths that day, and he was just wide throughout. He never had the turn of foot. It wasn't the day to win. I think cutting back in trip for the first time in a minute should really suit him well, as he has a strong pace to close up with, and I think he'd get the job done. He's 1 for 1 at the trip, but he hasn't run it in quite a while. 2 back, he ran the Distaff Turf Mile at Churchill, 1 mile on the 6th of May. He finished 4th by 2 lengths that day. Again, not the best beginnings that day. He just couldn't get there late. He got beat by better horses on the day. Again, I just think he's going to be benefiting a lot going back to 5.5, and then the Pegasus World Cup Turf. Philly Mayor Turf at Gulfstream, mile 16, 20th of January. He finished 5th by 7 1/4 lengths that day, and he just never was really comfortable on the turf course. But the horse ran her heart out, though, I thought, in the Fall Harvest at Keeneland, a mile on the 5th of November. She won by 3/4 in length, and coming up from nowhere, stupidly wide, she put on a show that day, beating some good quality horses home. Prior to that, they ran her against the boys in the Woodbine Mile, where she never really kept up. She won the dance smartly before that last summer at Woodbine. Coming here today off some decent runs with some class, with some distance relief and slight class relief. I love her a lot. I'm going to use her. I think a horse you could use for the pick 4 would be the 2-horse Bubble Rock for Flavian Pratt and Brad Cox. Most recently Intercontinental at Belmont over the 6 on Belmont Stakes Eve. She finished 2nd by a nose that day. Poppy Flower got to this horse, but she ran her heart out from a wide poster on the front end. Prior to that, in the license fee at Belmont going 6th on the Widener, she won by a half on length, and again, closing up from nowhere. It was a very strong performance. Another horse, since cutting back in trip, she's become a lot better. I think she could win also. 2-1, I'll use her in the pick 4. But to recap my selection for the 6 from Saratoga now, it is the grade 3 Caress. Gonna take the 5-horse Wakanga. Give kudos to the 2-horse Bubble Rock. 5-2-1-3 super. 5-2 in your multi-race. So let's get to the featured where are we? Let's get to the featured 9th race now from Saratoga, and somewhat get through to this. I hope you could hear me right now, because I can't hear myself talk. I usually have headphones in, but my ears are so draining and stuff. It's not even fun. I can't even get headphones in to hear myself. So it's hopefully this sound's going okay. But the 9th race from Saratoga, it is the Coaching Club American Oaks. It's a grade 1 event going for a $500,000 purse. Race for 3-year-old fillies here. We have a field of 6 horses going a lap around the Saratoga main track, which is 1,800 meters in circumference, or a mile and 1/8 on the main track. I love the 1-horse South Lawn as the top selection. 1-4-2-5 for me in the superfecta. 1-4-2-5 super. Top selection 1-horse South Lawn. 3-0 3-0 filly by Pioneer of the Nile. Norm Cassidy trains one. Florent Giroux gets on this one for the first time in a little bit. Most recently ran the horse in the Kentucky Oaks at Churchill, mile 8th on the 5th of May, and the horse finished 10th by 10.5 lengths that day, and the horse just didn't get out so clearly that they had a bit of a trouble trip, bumped around. It wasn't the day to win. From an inside poster, I would like to see this horse get good position and sit a little closer today. If she sits closer on this track, I think she could go a long way and run a good race today. She's definitely run fast enough races to win here. 2 back in the Fairgrounds Oaks at the Fairgrounds, mile 16, 25th of March. She won by 3 1/4 lengths that thing. She stalked that day. She had the turn of foot, and she beat your eventual Kentucky Oaks winner, Pretty Mischievous, home quite nicely. Pretty Mischievous went on to win the Acorn quite nicely at Belmont after that. This horse was just wide, but she got the job done there. And then Optional 80th Fairgrounds, mile 16th of mid-February. She won by 5, and again, from a tracking trip, she really put on a show that day. Since coming to the Fairgrounds over the winter, she's become a lot better horse. They tried experimenting with some turf races where she just was facing a little bit too tough competition, and also at the time, and also I just don't think she's a turf horse. She runs like a dirt horse. Coming here today, training well, I expect her to run well. I think the 4-horse Gambling Girl for Top Pletcher and Rapoli Stables and IRTs should get the job done also. Most recently in the Kentucky Oaks, she ran a massive place that day. She finished second by a neck at 13-1. Pretty Mischievous had the jump on her, but this horse was closing up from nowhere. If she'd have won that day, I would have made a lot of money. Made a lot of money with her with the place that day. But I really would like to see that her win. But that's why we have place wagering. But she ran her heart out that day, closing up from nowhere at 90 with a 92 buyer. Prior to that, here in New York in the Gazelle at Aqueduct over a mile and the eighth, she finished second by half length, and again she closed up from nowhere with a slow pace. At the races mile 316 she would have won, but she was flying that day. But then on the slop in the Honeybee at Oaklawn, she finished fourth by 4 1/4 lengths that day, and you either like that Oaklawn track or you don't. I don't think this horse really liked it that day. She just never was really comfortable. Before then, the Busanda, she closed up a little bit that day, but she needed something more. And then she had a decent third on the slop in the against Open Company in the Demoiselle, first time against Open Company. The races before that against State Parts weren't bad at all. She won the Joe Jimma, and then the Made a Miss. She just kind of had a horrible gate break, which cost her. But she's training well at Churchill, coming here at 5-2. She could definitely win. I'll use her in the late pick 4. But to recap my selection for the night from Saratoga, it's featured. It's the Grade 1 Coaching Club American Oaks. Going to take the 1-horse South Lawn. Give kudos to the 4-horse Gambling Girl. 1-4-2-5 Super. 1-4 in your multi-race. So good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5. Good luck, everybody.